Don't think that you can use sex to make a masculine male fall in love with you. Masculine men don't bond through sex. They are too logical for that. Yo, what's up everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz. And this was a statement that I saw on Facebook this morning. So I thought this would be a good video, a good conversation for us to have. Why? Because to a certain degree, this is a true statement, but is this the best situation for both male and female? Because what I see is, I see the good aspects, but I also see the damage of it in itself. Now, I know many people are going to have so many different variables when it comes to this. And of course, there are tons of variables when it comes to falling in love with someone, or rising in love, as I like to say, with someone. So, but let's tackle at least this issue for a little bit of time. Now, before we get started, I want to thank all my patrons. I want to thank everybody who subscribes and likes the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the channel as well. I'm your Coach Renz. Coach people through business, spirituality, relationships, and just life improvements, period. So, now, I'm also the owner of Uncle Renz Popcorn. So, type in hashtag gourmet popcorn so you can be in the running for our next giveaway. Hashtag gourmet popcorn. So, this statement. Don't think you can use sex to make a man fall in love, masculine man fall in love with you. Although that's a true statement, it's not what most women are taught growing up. When you're going through those adolescent years, when a man is a young boy is going through all that testosterone, he's reaching out trying to find sex, and he equates having sex with being in a relationship with a woman, or just that's what he needs to do. That's what he's been driven to do. But most often, that's what he's been taught to do. That's what he's been led to believe is an identifier of a masculine male. And because our overwhelming society teaches us that, what you have is men being taught that in order for you to be male, be man, be a masculine man, be a man's man, then at a young age you are to conquer. You do have a natural drive to mate, to have sex with a woman right as soon as you start having orgasm, as soon as your sack drops, as we like to say. But the mental aspect of it is taught different. We are sentient beings. We have more than just our base instincts. But young boys are taught that, and young girls who are emotional at that time frame, they start to have their cycle. They're starting to have more estrogen in their system. In general, they are more emotional and are looking for the emotional attachment. But from the male, they think that what they have to do is give them sex in order to bond with them. So this carries through adulthood, hence the statement. You can't make a masculine male fall in love with you by the use of sex. For myself, I will say that I struggled. As a young male growing up, I struggled. I struggled because I was more balanced in both my masculine energy and my feminine energy. Sex is part of what would make me fall in love with a woman. It's part of what would make me rise in love with a woman. It's part of the emotional attachment that will come up if it's good and appealing and the quantity is good and appealing. But it will never be complete, nor will it make me stay with a woman just because she has good sex. It may attract me to her. It may cause me to spend a lot of time with her. It may cause me to treat her better than she's been treated by most other men. But it will not make me stay with her, because if she can't tickle my brain, then it's not going to work. If she can't interest my energy, it's not going to work. So I struggled as a young man because I knew this and felt this, but of course, growing up in the society I grew up in, it was taught that if you showed that kind of emotion, then you must be effeminate. And if you showed too much love, too much romance, then you are a Casanova, or you are secretly down low, or something like that. And that actually plagued me as a youth. It plagued me severely, because during all that time frame, I had people who pushed towards me saying that you must be gay, because no guy writes poetry like that. No guy is so conscious to his woman that he's buying her flowers all the time. He's buying her cars all the time. He's showing up caring for her needs all the time. So I dealt with both. So for a while in my youth, I fully pushed towards the masculine and pushed down the feminine energy, only to realize later that that just never made me happy. That my relationships good, but not excellent. That the idea that most people have, which they would call a fantasy, had to be my reality. That what I saw in the rom-coms and what I saw in those kinds of in the stories and the poems and the plays, that was my idea, and that was the only thing I would settle for. Is that life, that kind of excitement where it's constantly being romanticized, but you're still being a man, you're still handling your business, you still don't allow people to run over you, and you still protect your family. Because I grew up with a man's man, and then the other men around me were men. Now when I look at a lot of our cultures today, a lot of men are growing up in single family households. They don't have that understanding, they don't have those role models. What they see are the guys on the street, and those guys on the street are portraying the role of you got to be a man's man and not care. But truly, do you want a man who is so masculine that you get him mentally and that sex has no bonding for him, that sex doesn't bond him to you either? If that is true, then what you're setting yourself up for the possibility of a guy who does not see the beauty and the intimacy and the connections of sex. And if he doesn't see that beauty in those connections, then he can easily cast himself into a situation where he just arbitrarily has sex with someone because they're there. You would call him a cheater. You would call him a misogynist, because to him, sex doesn't have that emotional connection, that energetic connection. Now, do you really want to connect with a man who does not have that energetic connection, who does not form some level of a bond with you sexually? That your intimacy is not a cohesion of energy that y'all are sharing. Because when you don't, he easily cheats on you. He easily sees somebody who can fulfill a sexual desire, a sexual want, and go and do it, but have no emotional attachment to her either, and don't understand why you're so upset. So I believe that that statement has a lot of validity to it, but it needs more complexity. And the complexity is men and women should develop their internal twin flame. That your masculine and feminine energy should rise up the caduceus of your spine, open itself up so that you can be emotionally tied as well as logically tied to your mate. That your emotions don't push you into decisions that are not good for you, but neither does your logic keep you so cold that you can't nurture the emotions of another person. See, logical people can be that cold. Emotional people can be that frantic. We'll call them crazy and we'll call them cold. 2 C's. But a balance should be struck. That is what I realized some 15 years ago. That a balance was needed. That I had to come into internal balance of my masculine feminine energy and not care what the world thinks about it and what other people think about it. And that I must bond with somebody who is of equal balance of their masculine and feminine energy. That she must also have balance in her masculine and feminine energy. So that I can play my role, she can play her role, and we then come together in unity, in yoga, in union. I often tell people that the way I did that was to learn and understand how to unblock my chakras. Through meditation and understanding my chakras, to dig deep into my psyche and my history, reprogram the thinking that I was given as a youth, reprogram the thinking that television and movies and books and those kind of things try to tell me, only the negative forms of it. I still believe and will only accept what people will call the fantasy romantic love life. I will not accept anything less than that. The passion, the fun, the consideration for one another, I will only accept that. But at the same time, I believe that we must enterprise. We must do business and handle our business and handle our lives. We must raise children, even when they're adults. Trust me, mine are big, and I'm still raising them. So we must continue, and I will only continue and look for that. I won't settle for anything less. So that being the case, that I believe is what people truly need and truly should be looking for. That the sapiosexual is a good term, but it has to be more than mental. It has to be more than sexual. It has to be more than logical. It has to be more than emotional. That it must be complete and under your control. You must control your emotions and your logic. That neither can be out of control. So I like the comment, but we must dig deeper. So understand how to unblock your chakras. Understand how to release yourself from your past and engineer yourself to be balanced. And you will find that your relationships with yourself, the world, and your mate will become the greatness that you're looking for. Because you have to free yourself to be yourself. Because your greatness is non-negotiable. And if you love this channel, continue to support us on Patreon and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day. Share this video.